The BS Report is a free-flowing conversation that occasionally touches on mature subjects.
First of all,
This is the BS Report with Bill Simmons.
it might be cool, I don't know. And if it's not, I don't care.
The BS Report with Bill Simmons.
Bill Simmons works for ESPN. He's also named the Sports Guy, and he writes a comical sports column. He must be a popular dude.
The BS Report.
It's got a real dirty sound, like a rusty steak knife cutting through a well-aged steak.
Now.
Here's Bill Simmons.
Welcome to the BS Report. Sunny day here in Southern California. Not on the Subway Fresh Tech Hotline. In studio, the great Norm Macdonald. He has a Comedy Central show starting Tuesday night, 10 p.m., the sports show. Oh, no, sports show. It's not the sports show. It's sports show.
Yeah.
No the.
It's like Eurythmics.
How are you?
Good.
You taped it last night.
Yeah.
I was there.
Oh, yeah,
I thought
you
it
were?
went well.
Yeah.
I'm going to like this show.
Oh, awesome.
You're back to your weekend update roots.
Yeah, right.
What made you go back?
What made me go back to my weekend update roots?
Yeah.
Just string after string of failures.
Other than that.
Oh, other than that, slipping into oblivion.
Our friend Daniel Kellison is sitting here
that.
next to us.
I should say fizzling into oblivion.
Fizzling into oblivion.
Yeah, I hardly slipped into it. It was more like I fizzled into it.
Well, the show last night, Act 1, you're basically doing weekend update for 10
Yes, I'm doing weekend
Sports
update.
related.
Sports related for 10
Then you're going to do, you have a film segment taped.
Yeah, taped segment.
Then third thing's like a rant.
Third thing is like a editorial.
Yeah. Editorial, I like that.
Yeah, like Eric Severide used to do.
All right.
Or,
and then the final one, which was my favorite idea, which right as the show's ending, garbage time. You have 90 seconds just to get off jokes.
Yeah, just 90 seconds left when we throw all the jokes we didn't have time for in the rest of the show. They call it the most exciting 90 seconds in sports.
Is that what they're saying?
Yeah, that's what they're starting to say. I don't know what they're saying. These guys, man, with their 90 seconds of sports, the fast 90 seconds. I don't know where these things start up. People now calling me the internet sensation. I'm like, enough of this.
So, celebrities can go two ways with sports.
Yeah.
Either they're genuinely sports fans.
Right.
Or they pretend to be sports fans because it's cool.
Oh, yeah,
And you can pretty much tell within the first minute if somebody's legit or not. But you're legit. And one of the reasons I know you're legit is you watch all the different ones, but you gamble on the things I gamble on. Like, you're in it.
Yeah. I like to gamble on it because it makes it interactive. That's the way I like it.
I learned that in college because every football season the Patriots were terrible. And I think like the 1989 Pats or the 90 or whatever, one of the teams was 1-15. And then somebody's like, if you gamble on any of the other teams, they become your team for that 3 hours. You root for them like you root for the Patriots. I was like, oh, really?
Well, also you could have a team too that's 1-15. And but with the spread, maybe they have a winning record.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's when I grasped the magic.
Yeah.
It's good though. Yeah. So you were pretty heavy in it, and then not as much now.
Yeah, I just got saturated with it, and then I found like I didn't like any team. Like after a while, you're like tonight, the Green Bay Packers. Damn Ryan Longwell, versus the Giants. Testaverde, he plays for the Jets years ago. But you just remember New York, you get confused. Right. But eventually every team will have a remembrance of something bad.
I agree.
You don't remember good things in life, Bill.
You remember your first great bet.
That's the hell of it. What?
You remember your first great bet that you won.
Yeah.
And then all the losers and really nothing else.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cousin Sal and I had a big Steelers bet. On the
What?
Your phone just
Well, you guys don't receive messages?
So we had
if you're an inner-city sensation, man, you receive the message once in a while.
We bet the Steelers to win the Super Bowl when Charlie Batch was starting.
Sure, why wouldn't you?
The odds were like 12-1.
And then
the odds
all of a sudden, you had a good bet on your hands as Batch
and you would
bowed out.
Well, you would think we would have parlayed this into some sort of magic. All right, we have these great odds. Now we'll be able to hedge. No, we ended up losing everything. Everything we did didn't work. Yeah.
I've never hedged.
You're not a hedger.
No, hedging is for hedge fund managers. I read that on a very unpopular selling T-shirt.
What about is hockey like your number one? I mean, you're from Canada.
Yeah, I can't get much hockey though. I mean, I get some of it, but for
what
a while.
What do you mean you can't get hockey?
For what?
Daniel, you can't talk. You don't have headphones.
My favorite team is the Bruins, the Boston. Number 4, Bobby Orr.
See, now you're happy. That's when it started. Yeah.
Yeah, because I lived in Quebec, but my dad wouldn't let us.
You didn't root for the Nordiques?
No, they're not the Nordiques or the Canadiens, because my father was virulently anti-French.
And you lived in Quebec?
Yeah.
How are you virulently anti-French when you're in Quebec?
I don't know. It was something to do with them liberating their land or something back in the 40s. I couldn't follow it. But apparently he liberated them from the clutches of Hitler's iron claw. And they just never thanked him properly.
That was it. So then you became a Bruins fan.
Yeah, so my dad said, pick anybody but a French team. So, it was around number 4, Bobby Orr.
Yeah.
Don Orey, Jerry Cheever, Eddie Johnson, Phil Esposito.
Oh, so you go back to the big bad Bruin days.
Yeah, man, I'm old. I'm 40. Yeah. I'm 2-7.
When I was growing up in Boston, like the
Terry O'Reilly.
74 is like the first time I can kind of remember sports, and I remember watching the 1-0 Flyers Bruins.
Oh yeah,
Bernie Parent just stonewalled us in Game 7.
Yeah,
I don't remember if it was a Game 7 or not, but the Flyers won the cup. Might have been a Game 6.
Bernie Parent, the Flyer, and I think also we played for the Leafs at some point. But they used to get those scores.
What do you mean?
Well, I lost a lot of money, speaking of gambling, because I didn't realize they'd opened the crease. And all of a sudden, because I always bet hockey unders, and then everybody started scoring like crazy.
You bet hockey unders?
Yeah, that was my big
Is
bet.
it true you're betting English Premier League soccer or some sort of weird?
I have bet soccer. That's not a lot of fun because...
no, it doesn't sound like
it. It's 90 minutes. 20 minutes into it, you're down 1-0. You're in a lot of trouble.
Right.
The chance of them tying it up, let alone winning, they only have 70 minutes left.
So what other stuff did you wager on?
I wagered on...
Is that the weirdest? You bet on tennis?
Oh, yeah, I bet tennis.
Golf? Obviously golf.
Yeah, I bet everything.
What do you do? What's your strategy for golf?
I made a lot of money betting against Tiger when he was... they had a weird bet in Vegas for a while when Tiger was so dominant. It was anybody but Tiger.
Oh, I like that. And the odds were always skewed because they know that people always thought Tiger was going to win.
Right. So the odds would be you get him at 1-2 or something like that.
Yeah.
Because everybody would go into a sports book like tourists and go, hey, I can bet on Tiger Plus that pays 2.5 to 1. That's a good deal,
That's what how they also get the Red Sox and the Cubs fans that way.
Oh,
it's like if Daniel goes to Vegas, he's got some family member or something saying, hey, when you're there, can you put 20 in the Red Sox for me?
Yeah.
Those are the two teams that everybody does that for. So they jack the odds really low. And also the other thing.
How do they know which team is going to play?
Because they know
which team's going to show up.
Their goal with the futures.
Oh, you mean not if they're playing each other, but
no, the future, the World Series.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, put 20 in.
Oh, yeah, of course, the odds would be low. Yeah.
And the other team they do that with, the Lakers.
Right.
Because you get so much people driving in from Los Angeles to Vegas, so they know they can skew the odds.
Yeah, that makes
basically
sense.
toward the Lakers.
Hey, what about this? What if I always wondered this. When you drive from Vegas from Los Angeles to Las Vegas?
Yeah, usually.
And then there's that thing where you hit the Vegas border.
Yeah.
And it's a casino, right? I don't know what that town's called, but as soon as you cross.
It's that town. It's like for people who have such bad gambling problems, they can't wait to get to Las Vegas. I got to pull off now and bet. I can't.
But don't you think it's happened where a person has flown in from some former country, got to L.A., driven, seen that, figured it was Vegas.
Oh, and just spent the weekend there?
Yeah, and then came home.
Does it have a rock in the name? It's like something rock or rock.
Yeah,
something,
it is rock something.
Red Rock or
Little Rock, Arkansas. Oh, my God.
Explain to me.
Daniel's not exactly Watson over here.
Explain to me why there are no Canadian hockey players named Norm.
Well, there's Norm Allman.
Norm Almond? Was he the only one?
Canadian hockey player Norm Allman, who played beside Paul Henderson, who, of course, was the greatest.
Now you're going back to early 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of Norms, to tell you the truth.
Not a lot of Canadian Norms. You might be the only
general.
Canadian Norm.
When you know your own name, you see it in popular culture used, and Norm is always like, I noticed this ever since I was a kid. When I was very young, there was a show called Peyton Place with Ryan O'Neal as the sexy brother. Norm is, deeply closeted man, and didn't say it straight out, but he was tortured. And then they had the rollicking comedy Norman, Where Are You? With Red Fox.
I barely remember.
Yeah,
that.
Red Fox's son was a gay American.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Oh, was that one of those they were trying to... This was early 80s, right?
Yes,
They're trying to get onto that whole gay wave, and
right.
Red Fox is going to be the bigoted guy who's got the gay son. Yeah, I remember that.
And then they had, of course, Norman Cheers was a big fat guy, and the list goes on and on.
So Norman Cheers, and then Norman Fell.
And Norman Fell.
Who's probably the most famous Norman.
Here's how stupid I was
Norman
when I was
Mailer.
starting my stand-up career.
Yeah.
I would go across Canada, and do my stand-up. In these little yuck-yucks clubs,
Yeah.
And so they'd introduce me, hey, here's Norm Macdonald. I go on stage, some people would go, Norm, from that TV show,
Right.
Because Norm was on at the time. So they would all yell Norm from Cheers. But I thought I was catching on.
Oh, you didn't make the connection?
I didn't make the connection. So I was like, wow, there's some grassroots going through. Like, because I was in Calgary 6 months ago. I had 400 people, and the word is growing.
Yeah.
So they go, Norm. I go, thank you.
But no, it wasn't a Cheers thing. What was your job before SNL? Like, how'd you end up on SNL?
I was doing just stand-up, and then somebody saw me do stand-up. I just get stuff through stand-up. And then
they hired you as a writer, performer, or writer?
They wanted me to perform, they said, you got to come. I knew the head writer liked me and stuff, so then they said, you got to come to New York and audition on a stage in 30 Rockefeller Center.
Right.
In front of 6 people. And you have to do 2 characters, and you have to do 2 impressions, and you have to do 2 sketches. So I was like, oh, wow, that's 6 more things than I can do. So I said, I can't do any of that. I don't know how to write a sketch. I never did an impression in my life, except when I was young. I could do Jimmy Cagney, but I didn't think they wanted to hear that. So, and I got no characters, at all.
You didn't have Burt Reynolds yet?
No, I didn't have. Well, I mean, I did him as a kid, but I wasn't an impressionist. I just do like any kid. We'd all do, we're all impressionists.
So what'd you do if you had to do 6 things?
I didn't do anything. I said, I can't do nothing.
So how'd you get hired?
They said, oh, well, all right, you can be a writer. So I was a writer, and then I just wrote stuff for me to do an update because Kevin Nealon was the host of Update, and you could just sit beside him and talk, and you wouldn't have to do characters.
Right.
Like characters are where you wear a wig and you pretend to be someone else.
Well, that was a strange time for the show because you had like the old guard people who were there for a while, the Mike Myers and Hartman and those guys, and then you had the new guys who were ready to become the stars, but they didn't have a lot of those Jason Sudeikis type guys who could just play a bunch of different characters and weren't star guys.
Right.
It's a weird cast.
Well, they kind of had because right before that it was Kevin Nealon. I mean, it was and Phil Hartman and John Lovitz and Nora Dunn and Jan Hooks, where they were like you were saying actors,
repertoire,
like strong comic actors, so they could do sketches. Then it was like Sandler, Spade, Rock.
Farley. It was like these force of nature people.
Yeah, just these guys that had grow right into camera, and it was real strong, but it wasn't the Mercury Theater.
Right.
Right? Yeah. We had an Orson Welles. We didn't have no Joseph Cottons.
Right.
No, so they were like you say, force of natures. So it was a lot funnier, but it was a lot less actory. Then it got back back to an acting cast, which is probably better for. It's not better for making stars, but it's probably better for sketches. And,
When we went out to dinner a few months ago, I was surprised by.
Remember that we ate over at the Chateau Marmot.
I was surprised by what a student you were. The whole comedy thing.
Student?
Yeah, you're into it. Like
I like comedy a lot.
You like comedy. You really like you're good with the generations and different guys' impact and who's overrated and underrated and what makes things work for different people.
Yeah, I like comedy a lot.
I never realized that you would put that much continual thought into the whole thing. I don't mean that as an insult. It just didn't. I just thought you were typical stand-up one-liner guy, and you're actually somebody that's really into the whole big picture of the whole thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I like lots of different types of comedy and stuff, and I like trying to figure it out because I think it hadn't been figured out quite yet.
You think we're getting closer or further away?
Probably further away. Like I think it progressed and progressed. And then it had a phenomenal spike at
late 80s, or
I guess like the last original voice was like Kinnison of comedy.
Yeah.
And then nobody since then. So
you don't think anyone since Kinnison?
Nah. But
well, how hard would it be to stand out now? Because it seems like, when people are coming up in the 70s and 80s, you had to also appeal to mainstream as well as connect with people on that deeper level. Now you can just connect with little niches, and you don't really need to be mainstream. You can have your little group, people love you, and that's it. And that seems like where it's going.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, but you don't get. But then guys get really niche, and they can only appeal to their little. You can't have a massively popular, really funny original voice at the same time. You know what I mean?
Because it seems like Louis C.K. is the guy that is the most respected within the comedy circles.
Yes.
But yet he hasn't broken out like, I would say, Chris Rock, 12, 13 years ago, or Eddie Murphy before him, Chappelle.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem like he connects in that mainstream way. And it's interesting because he carries the same respect with his peers that I think those other guys did. But I don't know. What do you think is missing with that? Like, why hasn't he connected on that bigger level?
Louis?
Yeah.
I don't know. Chris is very presentational, and Chris talks about racial things, and Louis will probably be Louis is probably going to make a career for himself like George Carlin, just get very, very prolific, and he's very respected.
That's interesting. I like the George Carlin thing. Same kind of wheelhouse, because it felt like George Carlin was never within the circles. He was as respected, but he never was as gigantic as. Even somebody like Richard Pryor. I felt like Richard Pryor was bigger. Now that might have been just better in a big room.
Right.
But
when you I think Chappelle. I don't know. Some guys can perform, and they're funny.
Right.
And some guys just think funny. To me, George Carlin just thought funny.
But wasn't funny in a room.
No, I don't think he was a great stand-up. I think he was.
Who were the best funny in a room people that you've been with? Because everyone says Farley was like, just in general. Everybody says Farley was the funniest.
Yeah, he was the funniest, by far,
Even if there were other funny people in the room, he blew them out.
Yeah. But Kinnison as a stand-up was the funniest guy in the room, by far. Just because he was original. And so, and then some guys are just, they're writers.
So, the writers who deliver the written content really well.
So then you get guys, I guess it's like singer-songwriters, You get these guys with great voices that are the best singers.
Yeah.
And then you get songwriters that can't sing very well. And then once in a while, you get singer-songwriters that are the best of anything. And so that's why, like Pryor would be like that, or Chappelle would be like that. Guys who have incredible comic minds, but also comic moves.
Where'd you stand on the whole Mitch Hedberg thing?
What, do I stand on him?
Yeah.
I thought it was really funny, Mitch Hedberg.
Do you think he's a written guy, or is he also a performer?
He's both.
It's
It's like when the writing and the performing match, it works. So if his writing is stoned writing and his performance is stoned performing, it works. If like what's the guy Stephen Wright? If Stephen Wright didn't look so smart and bald-headed and like he had a big brain on stage and he talked slow, then it wouldn't match his material, you know. And of course the greatest of all matching was Rodney, you know.
Right.
Because he said he had no respect and he appeared as if he had no respect. So those guys are at a whole different level. Otherwise, guys are just like comedy writers that they may as well just hand you the program at the front and you can read it.
Where does Bob Uecker rank among the funniest people?
He's one of the funniest guys ever. Yeah, no question. No question.
After your show last night, you were telling Bob Uecker stories to a few of us.
But that's a naturally funny guy. That's just, there's so many naturally funny guys. Sometimes with stand-up, I'll get in a cab and the guy will tell me, you got to be the funniest guy ever, you know. He's just this cab driver, way funnier than me. And he goes, I don't know how you do it. And I'm going, wow, that's good, because you'd be way better than I would. He's like, how do you do it? You stand up on stage. I could never do it. I guess I'll just have to drive this cab for the rest of my life. What do you do again? Stand up there? Nah, that seems impossible. So I go, that's good.
You were saying that Bob Uecker kept inviting you into the booth during spring training?
That's right, the great Bob Uecker.
How did it unfold where Bob Uecker thought, I want to have this guy, Norm Macdonald, in my broadcast booth during spring training games?
Well, I just progressed, you know. I got a lot of older friends, so I like old fellas from the previous generation. But he's funny, and we were talking last night about he'll often in the booth when I'm with him, when people are asking for his autograph on a baseball, he'll have me sign the baseball as well. Thinking he's doing me a favor, but he's doing no one a favor. No one enjoys it.
And he would use the cough button to mess with you too, right?
Yeah, he would use the cough button, Phil. But listen, let's not get into Arcania, cough buttons and so forth.
Finding out that Bob Uecker was like a legitimately funny guy was the most interesting thing I've learned in 2011.
Did you hear my?
Like 3 months in.
Did you hear my Wake Up Maggie? You know Maggie May?
Yeah.
By Rod Stewart.
Yes, I do.
Well, do you want to hear my impression of Gordon Lightfoot doing that? First
Absolutely.
5 lines
Canadian hero, Gordon Lightfoot.
Yeah. Wake up, Maggie, I think I got something to say to you. It's late September and I really should be back at school. I know I keep you amused, but I feel I'm being used. Oh, Maggie, I couldn't have tried anymore.
I was like he was here. That was unbelievable.
He has a very unsexy voice. It only works that time if you have a sexy voice.
Where does he rank in the Canadian pantheon?
He's pretty high up there.
Is he higher than Bryan Adams?
Oh, yeah. He's higher than Bryan Adams. You know, I guess the highest is like Neil Young. He's the great granddaddy of them all.
I don't think I knew that Neil Young was Canadian.
Oh, yeah, man. I'll give you even a better story, you know, than that. Every story's better than that story. No, but he was his father, Scott Young, was a sports reporter for the Toronto Globe and Mail.
Yeah,
and he was one of our better sports scribes. You know, he was a credit to the Fifth Estate, as they call sports writing. No, but anyways, he was an old fella, you know.
Yeah.
A tough old bird, but a beautiful writer, you know. as was his son. So he was estranged from his son because he became a hippie. And then one day, Scott Young, at 55, was driving down the 401 in Toronto, and the song came over the radio, Old Man, Take a Look at My Life, that he had written, for his father, and his father phoned him, and they've been close ever since. Isn't that beautiful?
Wow. Yeah. I never knew what the genesis was behind that song.
Yeah. Old man, take a look at your life.
Emotional.
I'm a lot like you are.
Wait a
second. Okay, whatever.
So, you're hosting this sports show.
Oh, yeah.
Did you play sports?
Yeah, I play a lot of sports, yeah.
What do you play, what have you played in the last 15 years?
Play a lot of ping pong.
Ping pong?
Yeah. I want to play Phil Mickelson ping pong. I have two things going on. Let me tell you something, Bill. I have two challenges.
Okay.
I want to play Billie Jean King in the Houston Astrodome.
Right. I fully support that. I'm in that.
Part 2. I don't know how to play.
I think you could take her. She's over 70 now.
Over 70?
Yeah.
But I've never played tennis.
You could get 3 lessons. It would be close at least.
Yeah. What?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I love it, yeah. But here's the other. I would also like to challenge Phil Mickelson, because I hear he's a heck of a tennis table tennis player.
Interesting.
Yeah, we call it ping pong. I didn't know if that was the politically correct thing to say anymore.
Yeah, you can say that.
Okay.
What did you play tennis with John Lovitz? What is that?
No, I played tennis with John Lovitz. Goes every day to the Beverly Wilshire it's an expensive Beverly Hills hotel. I don't know what it's called. But anyways, the guy there, the coach, is Alex Almeida, who's a Peruvian tennis player from old, and he's very good. He played, he beat Ron Laver 3 times.
Right.
And so he's 60 or whatever, but a Peruvian 60.
Does that mean he's a young 60 or an old 60? He's a young 60.
Yes, sexy.
Peruvian 60, I like that.
Yeah, Peruvian 60. So you could still imagine him with a lady. Right. You know what I mean? Like my father when he was 60, it would be hard to imagine.
Yeah.
But a Peruvian,
All
you can imagine. You can easily imagine. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because my father, he doesn't know. He'd get you a Casio watch to a lady. That would be his thing. But these guys, they're more champagne on your spine, my darling. It's a whole different thing. Anyways, so it has nothing to do with his way with the ladies, the story. But John Lovitz got lessons from him every single day at this hotel.
Yeah.
So then he told me that he was really good at tennis. So I was like, I could beat you.
You just assume you can beat John Lovitz in anything, right?
Yeah. Because I played tennis 4 times.
Yeah.
I figured that's about what it would take to beat John Lovitz. So I said, yeah, I'll play it, And he goes, you'll never beat me. I play everybody. What are you talking about? I go, no, I'll play anything you want. So I go to the place, and I'm in my jeans and a leather jacket. I don't have clothes for tennis. I only played 4 times. So I get there, and they give me a club and everything and a tennis racket. And I know, clearly, I'm going to beat John Lovitz. So we start playing, and, I just keep tinking them over a little bit, a little backspin, near the net, whatever that shot's called. So Lovitz lumbers over, and he can never get to it, And so I just beat him 6-0 in the first set. So he starts thinking I'm doing something illegal by tinking it over the net.
The backspin backhand or whatever? Yeah.
He's never seen this. He thinks you're supposed to hit it to him.
Oh.
So he starts complaining because he's like, I play Alex and I can beat him. He's talking about beating Alex Almeida, the pro, the tennis
60-year-old Peruvian. Yeah.
He thinks. So I said, well, what? He goes, I beat him. I play him every day. And I go, well, Lovitz, this, a tennis pro is one of their big skills is they hit the ball so it will land on your racket.
Right.
So wherever you're standing, the ball is right there.
Yeah.
And he's like, that's not true. Then he was convinced that I could beat Alex Almeida. He said, you've never seen anything like this, Alex. He tinks it over the net. This is Lovitz. So then I played, and then he wanted to really win, and he kept playing me, and I said, oh, God. So one day I was like, he was getting so angry and everything, so I let him win one game.
Yeah.
And then he quit. He retired.
On top.
Yeah, calling himself the champ.
Like John Elway.
Yeah, exactly. He won one game. He goes, doesn't matter. It's whoever won last. That's what they do in boxing. And I was saying, well, boxing, they do have to defend them, but whatever.
That's funny. What about if you... I mean, you play golf, it sounds like.
Yeah, I play bad golf, but I play.
How often do you play golf?
Do you play golf? I thought you did play golf.
I retired when I was 24.
Oh, goodness.
I might come back, though, at some point.
Yeah, I play golf. Well, there's never enough time to play golf, but I don't practice. That's my problem.
You do the celebrity golf tournament thing?
No, I'm too frightened.
Never done it once?
Yeah, I've done it, but the first of all, the guys all stick their heads out, like on the... Because they don't know that you don't know how to golf.
Oh, the gallery.
Yeah, they assume that you.
Oh, so you're terrified you're going to hook it or slice it the gallery and kill somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be my fear.
Goodness
if
gracious.
You're not good enough, I mean.
It can happen to Dustin Johnson. Can happen to me.
That's true.
You know what I mean? I could hit Dustin Johnson's.
When was the last time you played him?
With his head. What?
When was the last time you played in the celeb tournament?
Oh, a long time ago. I want to get my game well enough to play, at Edgewood and stuff. The problem is, like, I can't be clowny because I take it so seriously, and I don't want to be, not funny, ruining the threesome score,
right?
And getting angry and breaking clubs. People don't,
especially if it's being televised.
Yeah, they want a clown,
right? They want somebody to have fun in the same trap.
I can't do that. I can't do it at softball. I can't do it at any of those celebrity games. I get so competitive for it. But I might be throwing out the first game at the
first pitch.
Yeah, at the Special Olympics at the baseball.
Where is that?
The Special Olympics. Where is it?
Where do they have the Special Olympics?
Goodness gracious! You know what? You don't follow the Special Olympics?
I've been down on the coverage.
Oh no, it's in New Jersey in 2014.
It's every 4 years?
Oh yeah.
I didn't know that. Did you know that, Daniel?
No, did not.
I don't agree with the every 4 years thing.
How would happen when you did the celebrity golf tournament?
They banned in the which I thought was long overdue in the Special Olympics. They banned boxing.
They had special. Stop it.
They did. I thought it was well overdue.
What celebrity story do you want to tell?
I don't know what he wants to tell.
Listen, man. Let me tell
Daniel's
you something.
Daniel's fired up for some story. You're like
I'll
a
tell you
jukebox.
something about celebrities.
He's pressing A6.
If it says the word celebrity on the beginning of the thing, it's not going to be very big celebrities.
You might be in trouble.
Yeah, they don't they don't phone up John Travolta and go, "Would you like to be in the celebrity?" They just say you want to be in this thing.
Right.
So anyways, I can't remember what I was going to say, but the celebrity, when you go there, I've been in a lot of celebrity baseball games, and when you go there, first of all, they take you around to a lot of sick children in hospitals and try to explain to the children who you are.
Can you close that? My dog wanted to come in.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
So he will, because this is not peripheral, this is not big celebrities. These are very, smallest celebrities,
So
it would be fellas like me, Jonathan Silverman.
Yeah.
A guy from a soap opera.
Yeah.
A fellow from that used to be a judge on Star Search.
Yep.
People of this, stature. And then we show up with this one guy, and he brings us around to sick children in hospital. And we take up a lot of their gasping last moments by introducing ourselves and reading our Wikipedia to them.
You didn't think this is what the kids wanted?
They don't know who we are.
Yeah.
No. And they're trying to be nice.
Right.
It shows the spirit of the human nature. Because one of these kids, the doctor told me, was more virus than host. He was in very bad shape, and even he, it shows the politeness of the human nature. Didn't want to hurt Dennis Haysbert's feelings.
Right. So Where do you play? You play golf in Los Angeles?
Yes. I play in the public courses in Los Angeles.
Nice.
It's very nice. I'm not good enough for I can't go. I won't go to. I won't have a caddy because caddies are very, very good golfers. And
you feel like they're disappointed in you.
No, I feel like if I was a very great golfer, that's what I would want to be doing. I would. That would be my favorite thing. Be on a golf course playing golf. My least favorite thing would be to be on a golf course carrying a bag of clubs for a guy who is no good at golf.
Yeah.
And then going, "Good shot, sir." And then the guy makes another bad shot, and you're like, "Excellent." And that seems like it would be hell.
I caddied for 3 years.
Oh, you did?
And probably 22 of the 25 worst moments of my life happened when I was
Really?
caddying. Yeah. Yeah, it's not fun.
And some people aren't nice, right?
People aren't nice. My favorite day was Tuesdays, was Ladies' Day.
Uh-huh.
This was like, the 80s. This was a whole different era. But the ladies could only they could play at any time on the course on Tuesdays. Mm-hmm. And the ladies were great because they all used their carts.
Right.
So all you do is carry your putters, and they'd want you to read the greens for them.
Yeah.
So you'd be reading greens for old ladies. So that was I love Tuesday.
Are you good
I didn't
at
like
reading
any
greens?
other day. I used to be. I'm probably not anymore.
That's a good thing to do. That's one time, if I ever do have caddies, they can take a lot of, if you just believe them,
Well, one thing about caddies is because you are watching a bunch of putts every day. And then if you're waiting to get picked up or like you're trying to get two loops in a day, you're killing time around whatever hole is the closest, and you're shooting a lot of sand shots and reading greens, and it does become an advantage.
Yeah.
I just felt like my short game was better than any part of my game. Now I don't play anymore, but it is. You can be, if your short game's good, you can be that guy who doesn't drive that well, and but somehow always ends up 4 or 5 every hole, and the other guys are getting mad. Like, how are you doing this?
I'm convinced I could beat a scratch golfer, a professional golfer, if I have one thing that I can do every hole.
What do you mean?
Well, every hole. This is the bet. I could beat, I believe, a player on the PGA if I could at any point during the hole get one free throw, get to throw the ball for free.
As far as you could, or position it?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I think I could beat anybody.
Where did you stand in the whole Tiger thing?
Where do I stand?
You think you think he will ever return to the prominence that he once had, or has his ship sailed?
No.
Or you think he's come back? You think
I think he's the best.
He will be Tiger again.
I think he is right now. I think he's the best golfer in the world. I think he's just the putts aren't falling. When he was winning, nobody talked about all the luck that was there when he was winning. There was a lot of luck.
Right.
You don't win whatever he won, 40 tournaments by 1 or 2 strokes without there being some luck.
It seems like the competition's a little better, which hurts him. He's a little older. And then also with putting, when you get older, and I think this is just human nature, like you tend to think about things more, and you're not as carefree, and maybe your eyesight goes by 1/100th, and there are reasons why your putting would get worse, and it's submarined a lot of golfers. That's the thing I worry about with him.
Fear, you get fear.
Yeah, when you're in your 20s, you're not afraid of anything.
Yeah, but what is Tiger's 35, 34?
It's 35.
Well, that's the prime of a golfer. That's when he's the best.
It can be, it cannot be.
I mean, in the old days, that's when it was the best.
For some people, can be a little bit younger. Some people peak when they're like 30.
Yeah.
Other people peak later. Some people peak 40. So it's hard to tell.
What's he got now? 14 Masters? 14
He's got 14 majors.
Yeah. He'll get 30.
30?
Yeah.
Oh, I wish we could bet on this.
All right, he'll get 30.
I hate making a bet that would take 25 years to complete. I call you in 2033. You owe me $100. Who's this?
Oh, yeah, you're right. It would take all the time until he died.
Because the Masters seems like the one course that's his course. And if you look at his finishes by year.
Well, yeah, no, the Masters for sure. He's got to pile those up.
I don't think he's been out of the top 8 since 1997.
Yeah.
Or something. Just every year he's in the hunt. It doesn't matter if his drives are going all over the place, if his putts aren't falling. What do you think? I always had this theory that we should basically treat him like a child actor.
Uh-huh.
He's no different than a child actor who became famous when they were 19 and then started to act a little weird when they hit their late 20s, right?
I never thought of that,
That's fair?
Yeah, it makes sense. I saw, there's that famous clip of Bob Hope with him on the Mike Douglas show,
Oh, yeah.
And so I saw a longer clip of it. It was hilarious. And he hits it,
Yeah.
He hits the putt. And then, he does the swing, Tiger, and he hits it far. And then Bob Hope goes, that kid must be on dope. They don't show that part. But I never thought of it. That's very good. He's probably has a lot in common with those kids like Michael Jackson, obviously. And how did Donny Osmond end up so? He's pretty well adjusted.
The most adjusted. I had this argument once. The most adjusted child actor ever is Ron Howard.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
Because you don't even think of him as a child actor, but nobody was a bigger child actor than him.
No.
He was a double child actor because he had the Andy Griffith.
And he was probably the best child actor.
Yeah.
Like he was really good.
I think anything weird that maybe he was feeling, he passed on to Clint. Clint carried the burden for him.
Clint Howard, I see him golfing out there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he golfs. He's a good golfer.
So would you consider yourself
a Gentle Ben fame?
Right. Would you consider yourself a Tiger Woods fan?
Oh yeah.
Who's in your top 3 athletes you're fans of?
Top 3 athletes in the world
right now?
Tiger Woods. Jason Nash.
Jason Nash.
Yeah.
Why do I know that name? Hockey?
No, basketball.
Steve Nash.
No, Jason Kidd.
Jason Kidd.
They're both like, you can see the similarities between Jason Kidd and Steve Nash.
Canadian hero Steve Nash.
Canadian hero Steve Nash, and third athlete Peyton Manning.
Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
What do you like about Peyton Manning?
Well, one time I was coming out of the Four Seasons hotel in New York City, New York.
Yeah.
And Peyton Manning was there, and he said, "Hey, Norm, I like you." And ever since then, there's something about him I liked.
That won you over.
So now I always root for Peyton Manning. Now, plus, like when you see him, you go, "How does this guy not win every game?" Like I don't know. It seems amazing to me that he can't just win everything.
Speaking of athletes, when the OJ stuff happened, you were doing Weekend Update.
Yeah.
And you made OJ jokes all the time every week that I laughed at all the time. And you were pretty out there with, this guy's did it, he's a wife murderer. Like every joke was built around that. Isn't it interesting, like now that we have these CSI shows and we actually know things about DNA, like when you look back at the OJ trial, people like not trusting. I don't know if I trust the DNA evidence. Like that was the attitude back then. It's just kind of funny. We think.
Well, I remember like after the trial, because I thought for sure he'd be guilty, because I remember they had 2 weeks of blood evidence. The guy came in for 2 whole weeks, and then there was like these things that said, well, the guy would come up and go, well, the odds that it isn't OJ is like 100 trillion to 1.
Right.
That didn't look good, right? So then after you hear that, you go, well, I guess.
This is over.
This is over. So, but then they came back. I was sort of surprised it was innocent. But I remember they interviewed this juror. And you usually think of jurors, because you can't see them, as very fair-minded, smart people. Big fat woman,
Right.
Giant woman. And so then they asked her. They said, listen. He goes, he's innocent. And then the guy goes, hey, what about the blood evidence? Remember for about 2 weeks, the blood evidence? And then she said, I'll never forget, she goes, everybody got blood. Then she goes, if the glove don't fit, you must. She remembered the rhyme.
Yeah.
That was about it.
Smart rhyme.
Yeah, it was a good rhyme. And,
it seemed like it bothered you during those years when you're doing the show that there was even any debate that this guy might not be innocent. So you kept in the updates, you kept twisting the knife with the jokes, but like it felt like there was some real conviction.
Well, because I really, I knew a lot of black guys were my buddies, and I was like, really, you think he's innocent? And they were like, yeah, good guy. So it was like they knew he was guilty, but they weren't, they were willing to. And I didn't understand it.
Yeah.
Until Beretta killed his wife.
Oh.
And then suddenly I go, now I know why all the black guys are saying that. Because I was like, nah, he's innocent, because I loved Beretta. Like when I was a kid, that was a great Beretta. And then, and so Beretta had the worst alibi of all time, I remember. He was like, no, I didn't shoot my wife. It couldn't have been me. I have an alibi. At the time, I was picking up my gun in a restaurant. So how could it be me? I was in the restaurant getting my gun. I came back. My wife was shot. I don't know what happened. She had a gunshot in the head. But anyways, he got off, and he went cowboying.
Did he get off? Why don't I remember that?
Yeah.
So who did they think killed his wife?
They're pretty sure it was somebody else that he perhaps hired. There was a very funny Bonnie Lee Bakley, who was his concubine, but there's tapes that I listened to from the National Choir of her phoning her wife for her phoning her sister because she was becoming suspicious that something might not be on the up and up with Robert Blake, who was treating her very well and taking her on vacation. So, anyways, the one time he took her to Big Bear, right? The next day, she phoned her sister, and she said, I think something's going on. Because last night, I woke up in the middle of the night, and Phil was there, who was his bodyguard, Robert Blake's bodyguard. So she says, I think something might not be going right, because I woke up in the middle of the night, and I could have sworn Phil was standing above me, looking down at me, and then he ran out of the room going, I can't do it, boss, I can't do it.
Stop.
So anyways, that was you don't have to be the guy with the big magnifying glass to figure out that one. Anyway.
If you had, at gunpoint, if you had to pick, OJ did it, or he hired somebody to do it and he was there, what would you pick?
OJ or Robert Blake?
No, but I'm talking to OJ and Nicole and Rod Golden. OJ did it himself, or he was there when somebody else did it, or he didn't do it.
Oh, jeez. I think there might be somebody else involved. I think we all know what you're getting at.
I'm not getting anywhere. Oh. I'm curious what
I thought you were talking about a family member of his.
Oh, I've heard that one. Yeah. I think the one that
apparently in the book, if I did it, he puts it out pretty plainly. I haven't read it yet.
If I did it, here's how I would have done it.
Yeah, when he wrote that book, apparently.
It's kind of an unbelievable book.
Yeah. It's pretty...
I read this book by Bill James.
It's its own genre.
Yeah. It really is. You could have a library of OJ books. I have a couple of them over there. I read this book by Bill James, who's a famous baseball statistician.
Yes.
He was like basically the first guy who did advanced stats. He spent the last 20 years working on a book called Popular Crime. Uh-huh. It hasn't come out yet. It comes out next month. It's fascinating. He tackles every famous crime and how it was solved and looks at it. And he's got a theory for everything. And the John Benet Ramsey one was the only one where he's like, I don't know what happened here.
By the way, you know that guy, who's that guy with the cowboy hat that defends everybody? Jerry Spence?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so this guy, Jerry Spence, apparently is this big defense attorney. He wears a buckskin coat and an old cowboy hat.
Yeah.
When that goes well, the jury's like that.
Yeah. That guy has to stand out.
Yeah, so you want to get that guy. So anyways, apparently at the end of every trial, his client's always clearly guilty.
Yeah.
And then this guy, this is his final statement. He goes, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to tell you a story about a young, foolish boy who had a bird. And he came up to a wise old man. He said, in my hand, I may or may not have a bird. No, and in my hand, I have a bird. If you say A, I will crush the bird, or perhaps I'll set him free. If you say B, I will crush the bird, or else I will set him free. It is up to you, old man, wise old man. You just say A or B, and we'll see what happens with the bird. The wise old man said, son, the bird is in your hand. Ladies and gentlemen, the bird is in your hand. Thank you. 2 minutes later, not guilty. Every time. That's all they remember. They don't remember any of the evidence. They're like, that bird story makes a good point there, you know. We can't risk killing a bird. So, anyways.
What about the Long Island serial killer?
Who's that guy?
There's a Long Island serial killer. There's been like 8 of them. They can't find him. They think he might be a cop. I just found out about this. It's hard to believe with all the blood stuff we have, there could ever be a serial killer in this
You remember
day.
the Long Island killer, that Colin Ferguson, who killed the folks on the train, and then he defended himself.
Yep.
He got to be the lawyer for himself.
Which is always an interesting ploy because it just drags the trial on for like an extra 5 years.
And the guy would say, I would like to ask the defendant, you claim that you saw Mr. Ferguson walk down the trainway. And the guy goes, yeah, I saw you. And he goes, then what happened? You shot me in the face. Really? Objection, Your Honor. Interesting. You know, he was doing his best. He'd seen a couple of Matlocks, and he was... That's very interesting, because earlier you said, oh, no, that's true. Yep, that does. Never mind. He's doing his best.
Are you a Law and Order guy?
Law and Order I've never seen. If I don't see shows early, I miss them.
So what's on your DVR right now?
What's on my DVR?
Yeah, what's on Norm's DVR?
I don't know. I put a lot
hockey?
Huh?
A lot of hockey?
Yeah, well, I put a lot of sports, you know, and I put a lot of, I say, yeah, man, maybe I'll watch some of them old movies. So I tape a whole bunch of them, and then, I don't know, it's hard to get through them. But I like film noir.
Film noir?
You ever hear of that?
I've heard of film noir.
Yeah, you should watch that. It's pretty fun.
Like, give me a couple examples.
The Asphalt Jungle with Sterling Hayden.
Oh, so you're going way back.
Oh, yeah. Sterling Hayden was an interesting character.
Who do you think is the best looking babe of that era? It's an argument.
Rita Hayworth?
Rita Hayworth seems to be the consensus pick.
Is it?
I still think Elizabeth Taylor is underrated because people remember older, kind of bloated husbands, Elizabeth Taylor. But if you go back to the 50s, I think she's about as good as it gets. But Rita Hayworth, I think, had a little second. The Shawshank Redemption, I think, helped with a little resurgence for her.
I didn't know she was in that.
Well, the poster.
Oh, right. The poster was in it. Right.
And she's a big key thing in the scene. I think that helped her with the whole. And then
that's the poster with the bale of hay or something, right? Is that her?
It's the one like her hair's like flying back.
Yeah. Was she Howard Hughes's? Remember Howard Hughes made a movie with a bunch of breasts in it? It was in The Aviator.
Howard Hughes? Oh, yeah.
It was in The Aviator, yeah. The Hayes Commission really wanted him to cut out. He was like, more cleavage, you know?
Yeah. What happened? I meant to ask you this because I really enjoyed Dirty Work, which is now, I think, had a really nice cable run. It never really goes away. It's always it'll have the run. Why do you think that didn't do better?
Oh, I don't know.
Did you feel like it was going to do better?
No.
You didn't think it was going to do better?
Well, I didn't feel either way. I don't know anything about anything. Like I remember when we were gearing up for it, and they were like, "Okay, we're gonna do the ads." You know, we had a big meeting for the advertising.
Yeah.
And it was me and Artie Lang and a bunch of people. And then they said, "Hey, we got this plan. You and Artie go do stand-up." And I was like, "What?" And they were like, "You know, we do like 8 cities." And I'm like, "Yeah, but isn't that we're only going to get like 1,000 people? It's only 8,000 people."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Yeah, word of mouth."
Yeah.
So then I knew I was kind of in trouble. This was in lieu of television advertising. Me and Artie were supposed to start some grassroots campaign.
Without the internet really helping you.
Yeah, there was no internet at the time.
Pre-Twitter and blogs and everything.
Yeah. Before the internet, you couldn't make yourself famous just by sheer tyranny of will.
What you like is Tell them about what was going to happen with A Minute with Stan Hooper if that had continued on. You would like that.
What was going to happen with Stan Hooper if that had continued on?
Oh, no, Stan Hooper was just a TV show I was going to do on Fox. We did it. Yeah, we did like 13 episodes or something, but I had it all planned out, like, because I was doing it as a regular sitcom.
Yeah.
And then, anyways, it was set as a very regular sitcom with some little subversive moments in it, like the people couldn't vote in the town and so forth.
Yeah.
And, I mean, women couldn't vote or use the quarry, and there was all these little things in it. And anyways, at the end of the first season, which we never got to, my wife was going to be brutally murdered.
Stan Hooper?
Yeah, in the middle of this it's going to be a very serious.
Because, it was like a cliffhanger?
Yeah, no, it was like it was trying to mix, like in 1972. You know, you had it was trying to mix the old with the new.
Right. He never made it.
Newhart had murdered his wife.
Yeah, it was like if Newhart, yes. You know, not
Newhart had murdered his wife at season cliffhanger.
No, Stan Hooper was obviously the key guy they'd look at first.
Right.
Because it's usually within the family.
Yeah.
The reason it's within the family is it turns out nobody outside of your family cares enough to kill you.
It's usually the case.
Yeah, they don't know who you are.
Right.
They're not even in your family.
But you never made it to the 22nd episode.
No, I never made it. No, I never made it past 13 episodes.
Fox had agreed to it.
So, Fox agreed to it. Interesting. So you're doing nine sports shows. 9 sports show episodes. Starting tonight, and then every Tuesday.
And then every Tuesday for another 8 weeks after this.
And you smartly picked a nice time where there's a lot of sports going on.
Yeah, it's the perfect time.
It's a good one. You got baseball.
You got baseball.
2 playoffs.
You got your 2 playoffs, your NHL and your NBA.
Boxing. There's always a good boxing match.
Yeah.
Got NFL draft.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be exciting.
You have Kentucky Derby.
The fastest 2 minutes in sports.
You have the French Open, which a lot of people love.
The slowest
I don't know any of them.
9 hours in sports.
Look at this rally.
Yeah. Now, Roland Garros. Listen, there's no more place more exciting than Roland Garros. What? If you like red clay. But who's the favorite there? Rafael Nadal?
Yeah. Well, everyone is hoping Federer's in the same stage Tiger's in.
They're hoping Federer has one more in him?
Yeah, it's kind of like, is he done? Is he not done? It's a little bit similar to the Tiger thing.
Yeah.
So, and then what else is you got? Well, you'll be done by the time the NBA draft starts.
By the time they invade what?
NBA draft.
Oh, yeah, the NBA draft, yeah.
You had the WNBA draft. I told you to.
We're going to look at that today.
Yeah, you might want to look at the WNBA draft for episode 2.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk about that young girl out of the She Gophers.
The
what? The She Gophers?
The She Gophers.
Yeah, why don't they just have their own name? Why do they just have to put a she before?
Or the Lady. They do the Lady.
Yeah, the Lady Huskies.
My favorite was the Lady Gamecocks.
The Lady Gamecocks.
Lady Gamecocks. Yeah. Can you have a Lady Gamecock?
No,
Probably
that
not.
doesn't seem right.
Maybe we want to switch that into something else.
Yeah, they should. Yeah, why do they have that? They know. Why don't they just go by Rooster?
That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Or the Hens. The Lady Hens.
Yeah. We don't need to hear that word more. Roosters. We got roosters, hens. They can retire that other one.
Yeah.
Huh?
For sure.
Yeah.
So then what happens
Capons.
What happens after this 9-episode run? Then you just play golf all summer?
After the 9-episode run, well, then we might do 13. We might go from 9 for an extra 4 for 13. And then it's time to hit the links.
Yes.
And I have my challenge out to any professional golfer.
The throwing challenge.
To play me straight up. I just get to throw the ball for free for one.
For one time per hole, you get to throw it in some direction.
Yeah, anywhere I want. Just one time.
I'm trying to think how you would use the throw. I mean, mostly you'd probably use it around the green.
Yeah.
You might have a couple drives where you need it.
Well, it's hard to throw a ball far. It's hard to throw a golf ball far.
You might have to do the underhand throw.
Yes. Well, you're definitely around the greens.
How much curling is going to be on your show?
Curling?
Yeah. Curling's taken off.
I know. When I went back to Canada, I was surprised because it always used to be an old
Cheryl Bernard.
person. Yeah, that's right.
The first lady of curling.
That's right.
I named her the Curgler. She got asked about on a TV show, and she turned bright red, and it was awkward.
I mean, I grew up with curling in Canada, but then the following Olympics, I think, is when it started to become a sensation. I started to learn all these things, For instance, the rock. Do you know what that's made out of? I always took it for granite, but it's what?
You guys took it for granted.
For granted, yeah, I got it.
No, they say that there's only so much of this metal or whatever it is made of in the entire Earth.
Yeah.
And so the amount of curling, what do they call them?
Pucks.
No.
Oh.
I don't know what they call them.
Yeah.
They throw we don't know what they're called. But there's only so much, so they can't make an infinite amount of these things.
They have an L.A. curling club.
Oh, I heard of that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's because it's hot now.
I don't know if it's as hot as it was during the Olympics. I think it's cooled off. I think it's lukewarm.
Is that?
It was hot for about 4 months. I was getting emails like, you should go do curling.
Yeah. There's a very funny thing on NBC. There was a guy went out to play a blind curler. Or no, I'm sorry, a handicap curler who was on a wheelchair for the last Olympics. And then beat him. He beat him. It was just the correspondent. So, it looked like he beat him. He was way ahead. Yeah. And then suddenly he was missing wildly. And then the blind curler, the handicap curler came out and won at the end. But,
probably a smart move.
Yeah. They had to change the story on that one. They figured the handicap guy would easily beat him.
I think it's funny. I enjoy the local news ads when they do stuff like that. But I saw one on Monday where it was like, why sleeping with your dogs could be more dangerous than you thought. And I'm thinking they always put your life in danger with the news promos.
Yes, they do. Yeah.
And then it's I kind of had to see, but then I forgot to watch it. But we sleep with our dogs. Is my life in danger? Is it bad for me to sleep with a dog? I don't know. These are things that I wish they would just put on a website. And
right.
And, I don't know. They should use ratings.
Something in your refrigerator could be killing your children. Find out in 4.5 hours.
Right. You have to come back.
Yeah. They can't break into Sabrina the Teenage Witch and let you know right away. They have to.
Comedy Central, 10 o'clock or 10:30? 10:30 every Tuesday night, starting tonight, and then 8 weeks after that, and then hopefully another 13.
That'd be awesome.
And we'll see you on the golf course. Not in a celebrity tournament, though.
See you on the links. We'll play.
In the links.
I'll
play. I might come back to caddy for you. I want to have a better caddy experience than the 3 years I had in the 80s.
You can caddy? Maybe if we did Edgewater, that celebrity one, you could be caddy for me.
I would love it.
That'd be awesome.
I would love it. It'd be fun. All right, Norm Macdonald, good luck with the show.
Thanks a lot, man. Thanks, Bill. This was awesome.
So I get to sign off. Whoa!
Thank you for downloading the BS Report with Bill Simmons.
Too much fun.
Check out more podcasts at the iTunes Music Store or at PodCenter at ESPNRadio.com.
Peace out.